It seems like I got nothing to do. Hit up SimFBall Radio, I'm listening to one of the top podcasts, and they bringing you the real. And when they talk sports, it feels like you on the field. From real talk to real sports, from Madden to 2K, just listen for one day. They'll grab you and you'll say, it's on the net, man, turn off your stereo. Not music, I mess with SimFBall Radio.
All right, guys, what's going on, man? Welcome back to SimFBall Radio. And as soon as I did that, I hear my son up there crying. So if y'all hear him, please excuse him. Try to get away from him as much as I can so, we don't have any interruptions. Also, guys, it seems like on our end, at least on my end, it seems like the intro is delayed. So let me know, guys, going forward if it's a long pause when you come on to the show or what have you. But other than that, man, welcome back to another episode. It is episode 63. We got a lot to talk about, so we will limit the amount of chatter we have right now, and we'll go ahead and get started. So before we do that, let's check on Smitty first, and I believe Azure Effect may be on later. I think he actually will get out of class a little sooner, so hopefully he'll come on. If not, we're definitely going to hold it down for him. But what's going on, Smitty? How was your week?
Pretty good. Just looking forward to another great show, and just want to plug in real quick so we can jump into everything. I saw people comment from last week about giving PGA Tour a pass. If you paid attention to what was said last week, and especially if you listened to the Dev interview they did on OS on Press Row Podcast, they clearly explained when they run that game on this Frostbite engine, they started over from scratch. That's the whole point that I was making about the game. They had to start over because they took a hit using a brand new engine. You got to start from the ground up and rebuild. And when you do that, there's only so much you can do because people are expecting Tiger Woods. They're expecting Tiger Woods 14 to happen, Tiger Woods 16, when in actuality, all those aspects that were put into Tiger Woods 16 took so many years of development time to get that game to that point. You're expecting all that to just come straight over into a brand new game that's starting from zero. The likelihood of that happening is it's not likely. So that's why I was just saying that to let you know, and it was reinforced by what the devs were saying. So, and like I said on the show last week, this is general knowledge. It is not something that you got to go to the studio and interact with the devs to find out. If you just read and pay attention to what's out there publicly, it's all right there. So all the information is out there. But just want to plug that in. But great week I've had. Looking forward to this show. So let's get it in.
And that's funny, man. That's a great segue, and I don't even think you meant to do it. One of the topics tonight is we'll actually be talking about, comprehension by the community. We'll definitely get into that a little later when I go in just a few seconds when I go into the topics, but we definitely want to talk about things like that, man. Some of the stuff questions that you see and comments that are made by people in the community, and I'm not talking about just our community, just in general. It seems like people just don't comprehend or they don't really pay attention to what's going on. Like Smitty says, stuff like that is common knowledge. And just to kind of, hit off of what he said as well, I've been gaming for a very long time. You guys know I've been on YouTube since 2009. I've seen a lot with OS posts and just, different interaction between people with games in general. People pick and choose what games they give a pass to. And those are just the facts. And it doesn't matter if it's a shooter or a sports title or what have you. Because if this was another game, someone else may be defending the same type of game, basically saying, no, this is why this and this is why that, where the next person would be trying to shoot it down. You see that all the time in these games. So I don't really pay attention to none of that stuff no more, man. I mean, I know Smitty's not either. Smitty's just made a point. Just basically what he did is just showed some of you guys like how you didn't pay attention, and Smitty clearly was paying attention. Not only, did he pay attention to it, but he pretty much educated you on how games work when they go to, new systems and things like that. Another guy that comes to mind, I'll just give him a shout out real quick, Hard 8 Times. You know, some people like him, some people don't like him. But I will say this about Hard 8. He knows a lot about gaming. You know, if you listen to a lot of the stuff that he says, he's another guy like that says a lot of things that ends up being true, or he uses his own common sense or knowledge of the gaming industry to give you his opinion. And that's merely what Smitty is trying to let you recognize. You know, I know Smitty is being humble on it, but I'm going to talk that talk for him. He basically just letting y'all know what he said, okay, it's been confirmed. So now, what's the point now? So it's just funny to me, Smitty, man. You see it all the time. It's like people seem to think, I don't know, they think people have personal agendas or something. I mean, we're supposed to be, quote unquote, some type of gaming journalists, I guess you could call us, especially on the Madden front. But we're all supposed to be gaming enthusiasts to some degree. So it's funny how some of the things that are clear, people just seem to miss. But I think they want to miss it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started, man. You know, definitely give a shout out to Jive Turkey for blessing us with the intro. We appreciate that. And let me go over the topics that we'll be discussing tonight. One of which would definitely be the sports gaming community and their involvement. We want to talk about a recent video that our man Tico put out. I don't know if everybody knows who he is, but Tico is actually a game changer. He's known for doing live content. He's definitely a big supporter of NCAA. He did a recent video, and Snoop Dogg appeared in the video. Now, in case you guys don't know what's going on, Snoop actually sought him out. You know, I guess Snoop is a big fan of NCAA. I didn't know that. But he came across Tico's video. He made a quick, I guess it was an Instagram video, made a quick video saying if anybody knows this guy, let him know I'm looking for him. Next thing you know, they're communicating with each other, and basically they're trying to push getting NCAA, as a backwards compatible game. So we're definitely going to talk about the involvement of the community and with me and Smitty, how we feel about the video and how we feel in general, how this is kind of lacking in our community. You don't see this that often. And speaking of videos, we're also going to talk about Hip Hop Gamer's video. He did a recent interview with Rex Dixon, at the press event in New York City or what have you. Now, it's so much that we're going to discuss here, so I'm just going to be brief with giving a quick description. It's basically exactly what we talk about. This is what we've been saying all along. And now this is another source that you can listen to. And I'm not just saying another source as in Hip Hop Gamer, but this is another forum and another interview where Rex is saying the same thing again. Stuff he said in the past. But, this is going to lead us in that direction in regards to the comprehension level of the football gaming community. Because I don't think people really pay attention. Or maybe they don't want to. And then we also talk about the idea of the ratings in Madden. So this is going to be an interesting topic. And I say interesting because, even amongst the three of us, we really don't like exactly how it's structured, but we kind of understand why. And I'll give a shout out to my brother Azur Effect. Azur, he ain't trying to hear that, even though he understands why he's not trying to hear that. So I definitely hope he comes on later, man, so we can bring this topic back up. And maybe we'll even start with that, Smitty, since it's, the most recent thing that's happened. But we're definitely going to talk about that, give you guys our thoughts in regards to the ratings. What would happen if they were drastically changed, drastically changed? What would happen in that case? How would the community react? Not just our community, but the entire Madden gaming community. How would these NFL players react to looking at their own ratings being lowered and things like that? And then we'll talk about how we feel about the ratings themselves, the ones that have been revealed. And last but not least, if we get to it, guys, I guess we'll talk about 2K a little bit. I know there's a little bit of information out there. I'll be honest in saying, I missed the boat this time. I didn't necessarily check on it. I saw the article about, the Pro-Am and all that, but I didn't read up on it. So if we do have time to get to that before the second hour, I'll have to lean on my co-host here. Let Smitty maybe take the lead on that, and we'll talk about that just a bit. So let's go ahead and get started, man. We're at about 49 minutes until the second hour, so I guess we can go ahead and get it cracking, man. So, Smitty, the first thing, man, let's attack these ratings, man, because this seems to be the topic of discussion. So a lot of ratings have come out. I know we don't have time to go through each individual person and things like that, but, from what I've seen, and I'm actually going to pull it up and look through it, as we're here on the show. I'll start off with the quarterback. I'll talk about the quarterback ratings, and then, I'll go into how I feel about ratings in general. But I just want to say this, guys. Let me be biased for 2 seconds. Ben Roethlisberger deserves to be where he's at, man. I don't see how people are still acting like this dude is not a top-notch quarterback. And, that's as far as I'm going to go as far as, like I said, we don't have time to break down everyone's rating and how we feel. But I agree with that quarterback list from what I saw, the tops. And I saw a lot of people complaining, saying, they said Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees are overrated. And there was another guy, I can't remember who the other one was that this dude said was overrated, but I don't understand how people come to these conclusions. Let me explain what I mean. You guys know Neff One. Neff One is the rating guru, rating god in my opinion. One of the best that does it, probably may be the best. His logic, and he actually said it on the show last week, he rates players based on the season. Stats, not reputation. Statistics. Mm-hmm. Now again, let me be biased for 2 seconds. If you look at the stats and the statistics, how is it possible that you're going to say that Ben don't deserve to be where he's at? Are you serious? Last year? Or even Drew Brees for that matter, if we're just talking about stats. Now, I have no idea personally if that's how Madden, how Donnie laid the blueprint before he left. I don't know if it was rated more on stats. But if we're using that type of mentality, I know I wholeheartedly agree with that mentality, then how could you argue with that? Like, name a couple other quarterbacks in the league right now that's better than them or outperforms them, those two guys. Outside of the Manning and, and Brady, who else? Aaron Rodgers.
Brady in that top five, though. Brady in that
top
five. So,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So who else? You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you replace them with? Because you got Rodgers in there, you got, Brady and Peyton, but who do you replace? Who takes Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees' place? Like, outright. I'm not saying opinion-wise, because it's all subjective. But I'm just saying outright. All of us who watched football last year, it's hard to argue with it. So to me, I'm not disappointed so far with the ratings that I'm seeing. It leads me to the next point. I am kind of disappointed in the fact that, and I knew this from the jump, but the fact that the ratings are still, you guys know how we feel. We want to see lower ratings. Only problem with that, and I think Smitty agrees with me here, because we've talked about this several times. We're still dealing with, number one, a video game. Number two, you're dealing with the mass community and not just our community. Once again, man, I said it last week. I think we get selfish, and we're all included in that, because we think because we're the sim football crowd, it's supposed to always be this and this and that, and our opinion is the only opinion. We all do that in this sim football community. Let's keep it real. The difference is some of us have the understanding about business and things like that, and we understand the structure. What do you think would really happen if they just drastically lowered ratings? Just did it, even if they explained it, because that's always the argument. Well, if they explain it and tell us what they're doing, nobody would get too mad. Maybe. But even if they explain to you exactly why, do you think people really are going to go for seeing Tom Brady? Let's say he's a 78 overall, because now the scale has changed. People ain't going for that. You're going to have to do that slowly. You can't just do it right away, because people can't grasp a concept that good. Not that fast. That's going back into the whole comprehension thing. Ain't no way they're going to accept that quick. You're going to have to gradually do it and gradually take it down. Or do like Azure Effect told me a little while ago before the show started. Maybe you could take the all-pro football approach, where the numerical ratings are basically hidden, and then, you have the abilities and things like that show in the forefront, but underneath that you have numerical ratings. I think that would work, but then the only problem is you got guys like Neff1 that would crack the game, and they would go in. And not Neff wouldn't do this, but I'm just talking about those other guys who rate. They would go in and see the ratings and be like, man, you know what it shows underneath? It shows that Tom Brady's a 76. Then you're back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, I would love to see something done to where we get a more realistic and gamer-friendly. You got to say gamer-friendly because it's a game. More of a gamer-friendly type of system where we all can appreciate what's going on, because the high numbers, I don't necessarily like that. We've played rosters with lower ratings and we've gotten better gameplay. Now, here's a quick counter to that I'll say, and then I'll throw it to Smitty. Neff1, you guys know I've been playing with some of his new rosters. He's preparing for Madden 16. I've been playing Madden 15. A lot of you guys have been saying the gameplay is looking, it looks better. Now, this is the thing. He doesn't really want me to share his numbers as of yet because he's not done, but some of the star players have super high overalls. Like some of the stars, they're 99 overall. But when you look at the rest of the ratings, they're rated accordingly. But because of the way Madden's system works, it automatically pushes them to that high of an overall if you change certain aspects. And that, to me, is what needs to be changed. Last thing I would say is this, and I don't think this is anything that I can't say, because technically I don't think this really falls into the NDA, but I'll still say it in a way to where I'm protecting myself. Speaking with guys like Rex, I can say this: they definitely agree with what we're saying. We should rate the game more accordingly to where you can get more real-life situations in terms of really replicating what this guy's doing. But in order for them to do that, they have to rebalance the game to run off of that type of scale. And I know Smitty is going to expand on that because, Smitty peeped that to me a long time ago. But we have to keep that in mind. Again, guys, we're going into the education mode right now. This is what we do this show for, is to educate you guys on things that we've learned that we had no idea about, and we're sharing it with the community. So it's not as easy as everyone thinks, where you just go in, turn the dial, all right, turn him down to 65, turn him down to 70. He's going to be a 66. The highest number, the highest player is going to be an 80. They can't necessarily do it like that because of the way the scale currently works. And that's why those numbers drastically change so much. Because in my opinion, I would rather see just a rating system that works instead of when we go in and we tinker with stuff, it adjusts the overall, because then it leaves me still asking myself, well, what does the overall mean? You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's just my quick 2 cents on that. But definitely, Smitty, I know you're going to go ahead and expand on it, man. Like, how do you feel? Real quick, I almost forgot this.
Yeah.
You know how I said about perception? I don't know if everybody saw the tweet from Dez Bryant. He tweeted Madden saying 89 speed with a question mark. Then he basically was like, man, get out of here. He didn't say that. He cursed, but I'm going to keep it clean. So my point is, how do you think these players are going to react, whether they're right or wrong, if automatically, next year their ratings are way down? So it's a tough sell, man. So they have to find a real way to do it instead of just turning up and turning down, if that makes sense. But go ahead, Smitty, man. I didn't want to forget that part.
Oh, no. No, I mean, the reality of the situation here is that every player in the game wants to be rated as a 99. Like, somebody tweeted out the other day, they had asked DeMarco Murray. They were in the Eagles locker room, and they asked him, hey, what's your Madden rating? He was like, what's your rating? And he was like, what is it, a 99? That's the first thing these guys say. And look at what all those rookies said. You got dudes that were picked second round, third round, and all that stuff. Oh, I'm rated like a 90. Like, come on. See what I'm saying? Everybody has a perception of being rated ridiculously high. Everyone does. So when you see somebody, especially the likes of a Des Bryant, jump out and be like, what? I'm an 89 speed. Oh, what? You know what I mean? They're going to take offense to that. Because elite means you're in the 90s at all times. But what needs to happen, but I believe that happening is necessary, because you need to have it where those ratings are going down, because people need to start getting on board with that. Like, you have to start somewhere. And as you see, like I had said to Sim and AZ about when they release those QB ratings, the halfback ratings, some of those overalls, these guys are down a few points from what they were last year, whether they had a great season or not. Like, Le'Veon Bell had a solid season, but you still had ratings go down. And I'm like, that's good. Because it's good, from the balancing standpoint. Like, we're talking about from the gameplay being balanced standpoint. So this is the kind of stuff. See, this is the stuff that, it's going to have some guys in the NFL upset, but when people play the game, see, this is the key thing that's going to matter most. You're talking about change. People don't like change like that. They're not comfortable with change. People have to experience it in order to really believe, like, well, yeah, they rated the guy lower, but he's still a beast, though. Like, and that's the whole point. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, Des Bryant went down a few ticks, but he still is a beastly wideout. Like, yeah, of course he is. So this is what I'm saying. When, like Sim said, playing the game, we had experiences with ratings being different. We didn't see player ratings across the board, but the ratings were different, and the gameplay was solid. So this is what I'm saying, like, and the main point that Sim had said, and we've talked about it before, when you're playing the game, these players, the way the players are rated, it all is systematically balanced with all the mechanics that are in the game when they rate these teams. So that's why when you see guys go on OS and you see all kinds of slider sets and you see guys trying to decipher the whole game and break it down brick by brick, that's why. Because you're trying to make a system balance by tinkering with something else and trying to make the whole system balance out. Well, this slider makes that work. This slider makes that happen. This does that. That does this, and so on and so forth. That's why when you look at what F1 is doing, he's basing it off of performance. But at the same time, there's a means to the madness. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, well, he did this, so I just slapped that number in there and it just works. Like, no, it has to systematically balance. You see what I mean? So you can see ratings look the way they look. Like, I've seen people worried about the rookie rating and everything. And, how's this guy? He's a rookie, hasn't even touched the court. Touched the field. And look what he already has this high rating. It's like, yeah, but we still don't know how that's going to translate in game, though. You know what I'm saying? We have to see, like, is he going to beast out like that? Like, people worried about Mariota and his speed and all that stuff. The thing you got to remember here, guys, is that regardless if you're scared of somebody being fast, guess what? You got tools in the game. Well, if you're worried about Vic Beasley and his speed around the edge, okay, yeah, he's got that high acceleration and he's got that high acceleration and speed, and he's got that high block shed. Well, I guess what you're going to need to do is whatever side he's on, you're going to have to tighten your O-line or you're going to have to throw an extra blocker in there. See what I'm saying? So don't just get mad. And I know people just going to get upset because, he shouldn't be rated this because he can do all these. No. You have tools in the game, that you can use against that. If you're worried about Mariota trying to scramble, you got contains and you got spies, and you got all that stuff for a reason. All these mechanics are in the game, so you have ways to combat against these things. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, like, I look through OS and seen people show all kinds of concern, and some folks put videos up. You know, they sound like they on board, you know, borderline ready to complain about the ratings already. I'm like, actually play the game first and see how it balances out. But what we talked about was we want to see the ratings go away, and like Sim said, I do agree, people will, you know, try and break it, and at some point they'll find a way to get those ratings, and then they'll complain about the overall. But this is the main thing, though, to somewhat go against. Otherwise, to say play the advocate role in it. What if before people are able to decipher all of that, you've had enough people play the game and be like, hey, this QB's a beast. Tom Brady's still a beast. He's still a top 5 QB. This guy, you know, everyone is playing legit. But then once you unveil those ratings and you're like, oh, snap, he was rated that, and that's how he was playing? Oh, okay, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be as big of a deal, because that's how I looked at APF. I was like, they got the ratings looking like this, but the gameplay plays out like that. All right, cool. You know, so that's just how that's really my take on it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Madden has been so about ratings on the surface for so long that to see these ratings take a slight decline like that is going to cause an uproar, because you've always had guys that would be overly rated like that. And to see this and to see that change, you're going to get more Des Bryant reactions. You're going to get more of those things, just like with the Seahawks. The EA account, what they tweeted, they took a shot. They said, you know, what can we do to get beast mode trucking up to a 99? And they basically posted a picture of goal line plays up there. Said you could have ran one of these in the Super Bowl. So, like, it was funny to see that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, though, I'm just saying, though, when you're talking about, like, you see the Seahawks official Twitter account is complaining about beast mode's truck rating not being as high. You got Dez complaining about his speed not being as high. You have quarterbacks with their deep ball accuracy not being as high. Like running backs, speed and acceleration not as high in some cases. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm liking what they're doing. It's just a matter of how is it going to translate as far as the gameplay outcomes are concerned. And that's it. So it's all about what's in hand. And, I mean, you see how Hip Hop Gamer reacted to it. I mean, we know how he reacts to games. But at the same time, you've had a lot of pleased people. I mean, you can bypass hip hop and look what was said on OS and all these other sites about Madden. You had a lot of pleased people talking about this game and saying, hey man, they may actually have something this year. Like they got something good on their hands. So there's no bypassing that. So I'll throw it to you, Sim.
Yeah, man, and I'm actually gonna throw it to AZ, but before I do that, you know, guys, I told you he'd be coming on the show, so he's here. But I want to make 2 points real quick before I forget, then I'll throw it to AZ. A prime example, man, is looking at these ratings, right? It almost shows my point and then also goes against the point. I'm going to start off with the first example. Adrian Peterson is the second highest rated running back. Now, this is where the subjectivity comes into it. He didn't play last year. You know, he played a game or so, but you might as well could just say he didn't play. Some people would say, how in the world is he still the second best running back? Some people would say, how is he not? And this is what I'm talking about. That balance right there is going to be hard for any company. Because like I said, again, us sim guys, we want what we want. But somebody else could give you the same argument saying, well, he should be number 2. Somebody else would say, no, he shouldn't. But what do you do? So how did he lose a step because he didn't play? So it's crazy. But then the second example, look at Antonio Brown. Some people probably don't think he should be the highest rated receiver. Now, of course, some people will accuse me of the bias train, but let's be honest. How could you not justify him being one of the best? if you look at him as an overall receiver, it's kind of hard to argue that he shouldn't be the top-rated receiver, at least top 2. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that as a Steelers fan. I'm saying that as a fan of beast, dudes who perform in and out every Sunday. I don't know if guys saw when Odell Beckham was on First Take earlier in the season, and they asked him, who do you think is the #1 receiver in the league right now? Who did he say? He said, man, I got to give it to Antonio Brown because of what he does and the size that he is in comparison to Calvin and, Dez and guys like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying he's better than Calvin Johnson. Come on now. But what I'm saying is the reason why we say skills and attributes and stuff like that need to be in the game, because we need to be able to differentiate from Antonio Brown from a Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson is a beast in his own right. Super fast, big as he want to be, go up on anybody, jump off the field if he needed to. Ain't nobody doing that. But Antonio Brown brings that same type of scariness. When he got the ball in his hand, you sitting there like, oh, God. You don't know what's going to happen, even on a punt return. So that's my point. But now I'll go ahead and throw it to AZ. But that's all I was saying is, like, it's such a subjective thing. I don't think there is no right and wrong. But like I said, us sim guys, we selfish. And I'm going to admit it. I'm part of it. We want the game to be what we want. But how does a company really get the right balance? I don't know, man, because I haven't seen any sports title that rates the top players low. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know, but AZ, man, we definitely happy to have you on, man. It seems like a reunion. Definitely give us your opinion on these ratings, man. AZ. Oh, here you go, man. My fault. I had you muted. Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. All right. I'm happy to be on, man. Just finished my first master's class, and, it's been a long 8 weeks, but your boy came out there sterling shining. So doing good, man. Happy to be on the show earlier as well, man. But as far as the ratings go, man, of course you always have to keep them there because the numerical value has to be there for the game to run. But I'm saying in my selfish way, like Sim just said, do away with the ratings, because when you talk about players and football players, basketball players, baseball players, you talk about ability. And that's one thing that I always hold 2K8 as having king president and doing in a game and doing it well. We haven't seen a football game do it since them. And Madden had the weapon system, which was kind of, they put it in that category. But to me, it hasn't been done or replicated as well as All-Pro Football 2K with the ability tier system and having those players stand out and be elites. Because what you could do in All-Pro Football 2K was basically take a player, equip him with a special abilities that, that person would have. Say, for instance, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice would have soft hands. That's a quality of his that he has. He's a route god, which means he runs precise and accurate routes. He can lose his, defender. What else? He's not a speed burner. I wouldn't say Jerry Rice has just blazing speed, although he did get behind defenses. But see what I'm saying? You talk about these players, you're going to end up talking about the ability of the player. Trucking Marshawn Lynch, he keeps his feet churning. He would be one of those that in All-Pro Football 2K8 breaks tackles or branches tackles. So to me, you have to get that system and go. You don't have to adopt it fully, but you need to at least observe it and see what it's worth and implement it into your game. Because I don't know if you all touched on it, but Dez Bryant on Twitter today told EA pretty much they can go bang themselves that he wasn't 89 speed. Now, I mean, I might be wrong, but please find me highlights of Dez Bryant running behind the defense like he's Deshaun Jackson. I mean, I'll give him this. When he catches the ball, he's a run after catch beast. He's a rack monster. He will break some tackles, make some people miss. But I saw him, I think it was maybe yesterday, they were showing the Broncos Cowboys game, I think from last year, or it might have been the year before, to where they were having a shootout. And I saw Dez Bryant have a wide open field and get hawked. Now, if you leave it up to the players, they're going to tell you they're 99 every time. You walk up to a player who in the NFL who played quarterback, and let's just say they're a wide receiver now. They're going to tell you that their throwing power should be as good as Tom Brady's or Cam Newton's or, anybody else who has a strong and accurate arm. They're going to tell you that they're a quarterback in high school and they can throw the ball too. Look, dude, you're in the NFL, and we understand that. But for the game to play how it's supposed to play, we need to go through ability. Now, I don't know how you get there fully because signature animations are just that, signature animations. But it has to be rated numerically, like I said before, so you can do away with the ratings. But it needs to be some adaptation to where you can separate players. Because to me, like I said, All Pro Football 2K is the best way I've seen of separating players. Now, FGB rosters or GBBG, I'm sorry if I messed it up, but they've been the only ones, along with Nef1, with what he's doing now, which Sim has been streaming, are the only ones to actually get in Madden and get their hands on it, lower the ratings, and have a greater disparity of an elite player as opposed to, somebody who's maybe just an average starter and then somebody who's, a role player, special teams player, that type of thing. So until we can get that worked out, and I do understand 2K does a good thing with the community of having NBA 2K, roster creators and people can share it and do that, and that allows 2K to rate the game how they want to. But 2K basketball has somewhat of abilities. I mean, signature skills or whatever you call them now. What do they call them now?
They got the badges.
The badges. But I mean, that's signature skills and abilities. No matter what they want to call it, that's what it is. So they still have, that DNA in them from basically All Pro Football 2K8 to separate players, because your Darren Williams point guard should be different than your Chris Paul point guard, should be different than your Russell Westbrook point guard, and so on and so forth. So your Dez Bryant should be different than your Deshaun Jackson. Your Deshaun Jackson should be different than Calvin Johnson, and so forth. And I think we're going to see some of that, start to creep into Madden, but you have to get it to that point to where the gameplay is tight, and then you can start to, flesh out things like that, because it won't matter if the gameplay is not, where it's supposed to be. It'll just be a signature animated game that doesn't play well. But I mean, I'll pass it off to the guys. I know I went a little long there, but to me, I guess to summarize it, hide the ratings, get ability.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that, man. And you guys know we don't really have to spend a lot of time with ratings. We've talked about it almost every show. So we'll go ahead and move on, man. And, we'll keep it short, guys, because we know now it's back to three of us, so we'll definitely try to get through these topics. Just to do a time check, we are 20 minutes before the next hour, so we'll try to run through these topics real quick. The next thing real quick, guys, man, just the sports gaming community involvement. I already mentioned, the video, and shout-outs to Tico, man, having Snoop Dogg sort him out about NCAA, trying to get it backwards compatible for the Xbox One. And all I have to say, man, is I think stuff like this is great, and this is what we always talk about. When you're doing things for the community, whatever community it is that you believe in or whatever game you believe in or what have you, you never know what could happen. This just happened to happen randomly. And this is the reason why we say if you are in this football community and you're looking for the betterment of sports games or the best football game or improvement, this is why you need to stay positive. This is exactly why, because you never know who's watching, and you never know what it can lead to. And as far as the involvement part, again, man, it's like if you look at the numbers, there ain't really no votes. You know, where are all these people? I know it's more people than what's out there now that played NCAA. Probably more of us out here that watch collectively our YouTube videos. Where are y'all? And I just don't see it, man. I don't see the same involvement from our community as you do with other communities, and I don't get it. You know, Smitty has said it before. You know, this community does a lot of talking, but there's very little action. You know, we've said this 100 times with the whole, you know, petition. To me, that is laughable. That is not more than 6,000, I would say, and it ain't even nowhere close to that. But it's laughable that it's not even 6,000 signatures on a 2K sports petition for football. Just a bunch of talking, man, and that's why, you know, I've taken the position that I'm in. This is the position that I was seeking from the beginning, all the three of us, to get heard and make a difference. And I think that's what we're doing. So, what you think, Smitty, man? I mean, I know both of y'all are probably going to say the same thing, but love what I saw from that video, man. But what you got on that?
No, I mean, from talking to Tico directly, you know, when I had saw the tweet and everything, and someone tweeted out a screenshot of it and everything, and I had to hit him up and congratulate him on that. And it's a true testament that all he did was stay the course, put out content. You know, he didn't put out any content. He didn't come out here bashing the game and complaining about the games and just saying, oh, you know, it ain't never. This don't do nothing in regards to basketball or football or whatever. Like, he didn't do those kind of things. You know, like, did he talk about issues from time to time? Yeah, he did. But he didn't stay on that. Because if he did, he more than likely, he probably never heard from Snoop. Snoop saw, like, he did a series of NCAA football videos where he would just name it NCAA 15 in the little screenshot, and then he would just download the rosters and, you know, have his own little storyline. He would narrate it his own way using updated rosters. And Snoop catches wind of it, and he says, yo, tell this dude Tico, if anybody know who this dude is, I need to holler at him immediately. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And that alone, now mind you, it did get the count of votes from, it was like 4,000 something. It's like well over 5,000 now. You know what I'm saying? So it did get things to jump a little bit. But the thing I told Tico, and it's the same thing here, I'll say it here. It shouldn't have took Snoop. It shouldn't have took Snoop to get that kind of response. But he should have been more of icing on the cake, because if this community in general was that serious, we would have been made that push. We would have been had that handled. Heck, matter of fact, APF wouldn't be sitting there with, 400 votes or whatever. If people so adamant about that game and if they just updated the graphics and did this, that, and the third, man, I'd be all over it. But what do you think they're doing with those games? They're going to upscale it. So if people were that serious, they would have been up in arms and did something. But the one thing I said this to Sim. One of the first comments that were on that Instagram post was that someone had commented about it on Twitter and said that the first comment on that post, the first comment on that Instagram post is why Madden's not going to change. And they said that, somebody said that, no, Madden is all right. They don't need, it's basically indicating they don't need an NCAA. They don't need that game. Madden's good. And what I said was, no, the problem is this community lacks motivation to take action. See, we quick to point fingers at what other people have to say, but we're so slow to point at, as a community, we're so slow to point at ourselves and say, what am I doing other than posting comments on someone's video and clicking a like button because they're being negative about Madden or negative about a game or whatever, or positive about 2K. Why not take the time to take all that free action you're doing? Why don't you take the free time to go ahead and take 1 minute and sign a petition? You know what I'm saying? Or make your own video. Voice your own thoughts. Go to that site and vote for the game, for crying out loud. Like, if you want that game so bad, why not do that? All the effort that's being done by this SFL and everything, that game is staying on 360. You ain't never got you don't have to worry about that game being upscaled because the effort. You know what I'm saying? And what are those guys doing? Those guys are doing like what Tico's doing. Taking the game, you ain't worried about flaws, the shortcomings, and all that stuff of the game. You're just taking the game as is, and you're having fun with it, showing it in a positive yet entertaining way, and people enjoy it, regardless of the flaws it has. And ironically, the funny thing I'm seeing here now in this whole NCAA football renaissance period we got going on right now is that we got breakdowns of the gameplay being shown as if it plays better than what's done in Madden right now. When Madden 15, a lot of these aspects that get showcased in NCAA 14 or any of these older titles, these are aspects that are already in Madden 15 and are done better. But that's the game where everything is just broke at all times. So that's you see what I'm saying? So it's like when you don't take the product as is, you're going to miss all that. And that's what we see going on now with these NCAA titles. Like, you know, whether they're 14 or older, you're seeing people showcasing the game, playing the game for what it is, taking it in stride for what it is, and just saying, man, look at all this good stuff that this game has to offer. Well, it was there before. They didn't update the game July 11th or something like that. Like, no, these things were all there already. But too much time is spent doing, I'm going to chop this down brick by brick, and that's why, as a community, we don't go nowhere. Just stay in the same spot at all times. So, you know, but that's really my take on it, man. I'm going to throw it to AZ, man, to give his thoughts in on that.
And hopefully y'all can hear me because I'm driving now. Just since I got out of the class. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Some people said I sound a little low, and I always said it because I'm driving and I'm on speakerphone. So hopefully y'all can hear me. But it's funny how, like Smitty just said, NCAA 14 in this little renaissance period is now a beautiful game. And I missed this, and this is great. But when the game was out, this is trash, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because you probably thought you was getting an NCAA 15 that you could say, you know, it upgraded, and then you could trash 14 for what it was worth. But now, since that game is the only NCAA game, most relevant game, now it's a beautiful thing. That sounds familiar. Doesn't that sound like the last NFL 2K game we've seen? Doesn't it sound like the last 2K football game we've seen? Accepting the flaws for what it is, because guess what? Ain't no more coming down the pipe. Now, hopefully, in the future, we will get some, college or NCAA type games back, just period, because with 2K and the news that they announced, they have certain colleges licensed in the NBA 2K16. So we'll see what happens with that, and that might be an avenue to where we can bring, where we might be able to get back a college football game or a college basketball game. It just might not be called NCAA. It might be, just certain teams licensed off, and that way we can enjoy the game. Even though, the sim community would play a generic game. But as Smitty said, we do all this talking and ranting and raving, not us, but just people in general, about how they hate Madden or hate EA, and there's no action being done. Like Smitty said, just to reiterate, it shouldn't have taken Snoop Dogg to get NCAA football back on the map and in the eyes of being revived. 2K, since that's 2K8, the last football game we've seen, should have more than 400, 500 votes to try to get back up there on backwards compatibility for Xbox One. So we're living in a day and age where people want to just like videos, write a few negative comments, but not lend anything to the situation. It's kind of like, I guess, the social media age and the sports center age that we live in. Everything has to be now, and people want to comment instead of doing something. It's much easier to run somebody down, no matter the situation. If you see something happening, especially on Twitter or something, or Facebook, or he ain't doing nothing, blah, 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 and it is to say, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. Here's the plan of action that I'm going to put into play. And, people who ride with me are with me. If you're against me, you're against me. It's much harder to take a stand, and we see that even in something as insignificant as video games. But character shows through whatever you do. So I don't know, man. It just comes down to a point where Madden 16, NBA 2K16, NBA Live 16, we have to hold accountable the games that are being produced. And since these are the games that are being produced, I mean, no matter whether you red box them or game fly them, we never tell you to purchase the game. We say, if it's a demo out, try the demo, or seek other means of trying to get these games. People don't even use SharePlay anymore, so I don't know if it's blocked games, but I let people play NBA Live 15 on me, and they were like, "Hey, this game is not as bad as I thought it was going to be." So use the tools that are available to you, whether it's SharePlay, Redbox, GameFly, or even just walking up to your partner's house and be like, "Yo, do you have such and such game? Let me try it out." Because a lot of smoke is being blown by people who haven't even played any of these titles. And I've played Madden 16 and NBA Live 16. So, but hey, as we say, people don't listen to us. So, that's my little short spiel, and we'll keep it moving.
You know how it go, man. And you actually just gave me a great idea, man. And y'all remember last year, I remember how selfish I was. I said, I ain't giving you nothing. Don't even ask for no share play with me. But you know what I might do? I might. And I don't hold me to it. But everybody know we get the game earlier. And when we're able to actually show the game, I might do something where I might allow, a person to play the game for a little bit, like an hour or two. I might. I say might because I don't know how it's going to be set up, but I might do some type of, quote-unquote giveaway to that degree. Somebody can win an hour worth of play time before it releases or something. But, of course, it's going to have to be when I can show it. And y'all know what I mean by that, when we're able to stream and stuff like that, even though the game hasn't launched, especially on PS4. Then maybe I'll do that. We'll see. I don't know. But let's go ahead and get to the next two topics. We'll go ahead and time together, man, so we can keep it moving. We're about 6 minutes out from the first, the next hour. And we may run over a little bit, but I don't want to run over too much. But we're basically going to talk about something Azua just said. And it's part of the topics, man, where we never tell you to buy a game. And one of the topics I wanted to discuss is people's recommendations versus opinions. But we'll tie that all into the other topic in regards to Hip Hop Gamer's recent interview with Rex. And I really don't have much to say about that other than this is what we've been saying. I recommend everybody go watch that video. If you didn't get a chance to see my interview with Rex, I recommend checking that out as well. I'm sure you saw, Hip Hop Gamer's interview at E3. Look at this most recent one from the NYC event. Everything Rex was saying is exactly what we have been saying. I mean, I can't spell it out no clear. And it's to the point where it's like either you're going to believe those guys or you're not. Like, I'm done with the community with the whole, but this ain't happening. Oh, they ain't doing. Listen, man, I've said this before. Anybody who's on that, don't expect to hear back from me via Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Even if you call the show, we'll let you talk. We ain't going to mute you. We'll let you talk, and then we'll reply to you, and that will be done. Because I'm not on that no more. I'm on let's get this better until we have someone else we can help. That's what I'm on. It's working. I'm going to take some credit. The three of us here, yes. Part of the reason for where this game is at is because of us. You don't believe me? Go look at the interview I did with Rex. And y'all know we don't never brag. We never boast. We don't do that. But I have to say that tonight to explain to you this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It don't cost me nothing. It don't cost me $1 to do this. As far as, lending my hand. Yeah, it costs me to go to certain places. Yeah, I ain't talking about that. I'm just talking about it doesn't hurt me to take this way if I'm going to play video games anyway. Instead of being on the outside, throwing rocks at the building when I could be inside the building and still having the same effect. So anybody that's on that rah-rah, I ain't dealing with that, man. We got the train at least moving now. Now, pretty soon we'll have the train going full blast. So that's all I'm saying. It don't hurt us to attempt and keep attempting to make the game better. If it gets better, hooray. If it doesn't, life still goes on. But anyway, the last little piece I wanted to say, man, before I throw it to Smitty. And I spoke to a guy earlier today, and I know he'll probably hear this show. And this is not directed at you because we had a very intelligent conversation. But I get so many requests or so many questions. This is what they tell me. Hey, man, you think the game is worth it this year? Should I buy it? What you think, man? If you say it's good, I'm going to get it. Now, I could give you my recommendation based off of my opinion. But when I do that, don't turn around and blame me if there's things about a game that you don't like. Don't go pointing the finger at me. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, don't do it like I'm going to get upset. I'm just saying that, it's like rhetorical. Like, bruh, don't blame somebody else. You make that decision. We can't make the decision for you to buy a game. And I know some people are just asking, but y'all would not believe me, man, but some of these people are dead serious. What you think? Whatever you say, that's what I'm going to do. And I always tell them, bruh, I like what I see in the game because I know where it's going. I have a different perspective. There may be one thing that you don't like. Perfect example, equipment. There's some people out there that's told me until they get the equipment right, I ain't buying the game. Cool, I respect you because that's your thing. So there ain't nothing I can tell you about the game that's going to make you like it. Hence the reason why I can't tell you go buy the game. So that's all I wanted to say real quick is like some people out there, stop asking us like we're the end-all, be-all. We're not. We're not. All we could do is educate you on what we know, give you our educated opinion based off of our experience with the game, and also based off the respect that you guys have for us. Of course, I understand you saying, yeah, man, if Sim cool with it, I think it's cool with me because you probably feel the same way I do. But I'm talking about those other guys that literally, I've had people beef with me. So is this going to be the year you tell me to buy it? What's up? If it ain't like that, I ain't buying it. What? How can I tell you that? Literally, how can I be this is the year, man, you should buy it. It's the best. I don't know what you like, bro. Because you're the same guy that says there's nothing has been done to improve the game. But that's just my thoughts. But what do you feel about all of that, Smitty, man, as far as that interview and, us having to tell people whether they should buy the game or not?
Well, as far as the interview, that as a total goes into the grand scheme of what we've been saying all along. You definitely reiterated the point many times over, like, man, we know what's coming. We're telling you that. we're letting y'all know what's up and all that. It's like, we're letting them know. We're letting them know. And you know, one thing that's funny about the interview, I saw somebody say that on Twitter that basically our word doesn't mean anything because Rex said that he has a 5 to 7 year plan in terms of what he wants to do with the game from this point. And see, that's the kind of stuff that makes me question people's business savvy. Because you're a big-time corporation. You're a creative director for a flagship product for a big-time corporation. Why would you not have at least a 5-year plan for what you want to do with the product? That would be stupid if you're flying. What is he supposed to do? Fly by the seat of his pants? That'd be retarded. Like you have to have plans for what you do with these products. And when you hear him say things like that, you should be happy. Like, if anything, well, based upon your outlook on the title, from what they're doing so far, that's a good thing to me because you're telling me up front you already have a plan. You have an agenda for what it is you want to do. It's just a matter of how is it going to be executed. And I'm with that. So I love that. I love the interview with Hip Hop. I mean, you know, Hip Hop gives his vibe, like I said earlier. Hip Hop gives his vibe the way he gives it. You know, he's amped. That's him. You know, he exaggerates some stuff. You know, I saw no morphing, no this, no that, no that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So he's making it sound like Madden's perfect. We all know the game's not going to be perfect. But nevertheless, he enjoyed the game. And from the gameplay perspective, everything that's been talked about is what we want to see happen in the game. We've talked about that. Hearing Rex lay out some things that he wants to do in that interview as well. I mean, the same thing. The funny thing is the interview stayed the exact same course. It's like what Moody did when he had his, you know, interview with him. It's like when Sim did when he had his interview with Rex at E3. The same kind of talk is happening. It's going across the same board. The confidence is there. The vision is there, and it's coming to fruition, whether you like it or not. Whether you just want the game to be bad or not. Whatever. Who cares? That's just the way it is, man. And I love what's going on here. And that's why I said last week, and I'll say it again. I'm going to be tweeting out, retweeting Sim's interview with Rex from E3 multiple times because they're just not going to grasp it. And it's like, if you pay attention to what he's saying right there, that's it. Right there. Coming with the whole, it ain't never going to be nothing and all that, that's null and void because these guys are telling you they're not fully satisfied with where the game is at, even with what they complete this year. They're telling you that, they told you that in June. So, that's what I'm just saying, like, that's it. So, but what I'm going to say is, as far as the next part, people, you know, hanging on our word. I said this on Sim Standard multiple times. I said, you got to make the decision yourself. We're not, our hand is not in your wallet. You see what I'm saying? Telling you guys, yo, you need to let's run the GameStop right now and get this. No, it is your decision. If you want to take our opinion, like Sim said, if you value, I mean, I appreciate that people value our opinions like that. I really do. But that's why I say because people value our opinions, that's why I strongly recommend you rent. You go to GameStop and play it if they have it on display. You Redbox it. You GameFly, whatever. Please do that. Because you're going to have a whole lot of people that are going to detract and say, see, it ain't never going to be nothing. And like Sim said, those are going to be people that basically don't even play the game or play the game for 2 weeks. This is you're going to have guys that'll play Madden for 2 weeks, tell you the game ain't really about nothing, ain't really changed, but then they'll go ahead and buy NBA 2K and record videos of themselves raging over gameplay issues. Why? See what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. So you won't, it's all about what the fad is versus going against that grain. it's commonplace. It's a fad to come up here and talk about Madden like it ain't doing nothing. It's not popular, especially in this section of the community, to talk about Madden as if it's actually legit. That's not the cool thing to do. So I just wanted to say that, but I'll throw it to AZ, man. He can give his thoughts on that.
And I'm gonna keep it short since we get into the next hour. But look at here, I can buy you food, but I can't chew it for you. I also can't crap it out for you. And what I mean by that is, we can give you our opinion, but at the same time, it's up to you to play it and see what you like and dislike. And if you dislike something, then let it be known. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing holding you back from giving constructive feedback, constructive criticism to get a better game. We've done it. People are still doing it. It's nothing to stop you, who are listening or, on the radio, on the web or, if you're calling in. It's nothing to stop you from doing that. Just because you don't have a big subscriber base doesn't mean that your voice won't be heard. We all started off with small channels. You know what I mean? So we eventually just kept pushing, and we're heard. So it's nothing to stop you from being heard if you don't like something about a game. Because, truth be told, we all like different things. Tim and Smitty could tell you when they see something that they know I'll like in the game, it will all. AZ gonna like that. And they'll know that I've been talking about the passing game for I don't know how long. I'm still talking about it because it still needs revolutionary work of I throw the ball to a spot and there's not a tied interaction to it. Whatever happens, happens. That's revolutionizing the passing game. And they haven't made it there yet. And I'm going to keep talking about it until they make it there. I like, aim-based passing of if I throw an incompletion, I threw an incompletion. Don't make me throw an interception because you want, the ball to be tied to an interaction. If it's 2nd and 6 and I throw a ball and it's incomplete and it's 3rd and 6, that's what happens. Don't try to turn the ball over on me because you want an interaction to happen. And that's one of the problems that I had with Madden 15. And 16, hopefully, the inaccuracy shine through a little more. Then we also have, the catch system. And you still, I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear me talk about true drop passes, the passing game in general, reach tackles. Like, it's still room for improvement. You'll never sit up here and hear us say we're satisfied with the game. The devs not satisfied with it, and they making the game. So we're not satisfied with it, being the ones who give feedback on it. We're still pushing for it to be an even better experience. So as far as it goes with our opinions, take them for what they were. But at the same time, if you've been harping on how they need to fix the blocking in the running game, and that's your stick for 3-4 years, then they finally do it, guess what? You like that Madden. You might not like, like the one before that, but that's the one that you don't like. So I can't, if I'm not a running game person and I'm sitting here talking about the passing game and they didn't fix the passing game, I'm not going to like it. So it's different strokes for different folks. And I always say that, you can't get a Big Mac from Burger King. Some people are trying to do that. And EA is a different company. So like Smitty and Sim have already said, for those people who saying that Madden is not innovating, that's getting tired because you just refuse to see what's going on in front of you because there's no way that you go back and play Madden 13 up against Madden 16 when it drops and tell me that you like Madden 13, or Madden 13, is more innovative or more fundamentally sound in football. There might be stuff that you like about it. Like I said, you might have a different taste. But as far as innovation and pushing the envelope and getting a better game, there's no way that you're really going to sit up there and say that unless you're just trying to troll, honestly. But, that's neither here nor there. People do it, and I guess since it's America and the internet where everybody can talk their opinion as if it's fact, or people believe their own opinions as if they're fact, then it'll always be people out there who say that Madden's not innovating when it's clear that they are making strides each year. But we'll go ahead and get to the calls now. I ran over low on.
Yeah, man, we'll move on to the calls, but you said it all right there, man. I mean, if you can't see it, and I'm going to say it right now, and I said it before, and we'll say it even after. There's stuff that I've seen in Madden 16 that has never been done in any football game on any platform, period. Now, I know some people are going to hear that and say, oh, did you hear what he said? He said that's the best game he's ever played, ever of all time. And you see how I twisted my own words up? That's what they do. Somebody going to say that. I am not saying that at all. Azur just told you there's a ton left to do. But I am saying there is stuff in this game that you've never seen before. Case in point, that video showing Joe Hayden punching the ball out. When have you seen that in any football game? Not the schematics of, the semantics of, but yeah, his hand didn't necessarily hit the ball. True. I got a play right now in NBA 2K that I'm actually going I recorded it on the PS4 here while we're on the show, and I'm going to make a video out of it, and I'm going to call it Let Me Nitpick for a Moment. Well, I get a block, and his hand never touches the ball. My point is it happens. These things happen in all these games.
Okay.
Until a game... Yeah, it's okay. It's okay because it's 2K. and I think Azur and Smitty will agree with this. Until there is a video game that does it completely right, no clipping, no warping, no morphing, no, ball tangibility issues, until that one game does that to set the bar, I can't say nothing about that because it happens in all these games. But I can nitpick. And that's the reason why I'm going to do the video is, a little nitpick because, like I said, I think Live does a better job in that area than 2K. But anyway, let's go ahead and move to the calls, man. We did a pretty good job. We got 47 minutes left. Right now, of course, we have 757. We're going to bring him in. Then after that, in the following order, we have 704. Then after that, 253, which I believe is Nef1. And then after that, 205. We do have other calls in queue, so guys, remember, if you want to give us a call, if you want to speak, press 1. We'll bring you in the queue in the order that you were received. Any guys who are listening online, if you want to call us, the number is 516-453-9126, and we'll do a time check. Just keep in mind, us included, responses and questions, let's keep it as short as we can, just, to make sure we're keeping enough time for everybody's call. So let's go ahead and get started with 757. Got you in live, man. What's going on tonight? It looks like it's taking a moment to take you off of mute. 1 second. Here we go. We got you in, man. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Salute to the Standard, to the radio show.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to try to keep it brief, man. You guys are hitting us with so much, man. I don't even know guys are taking it all in. So I'll start because, I'm always on it. I'll start with the Rex and Hip Hop Gamer video because I've seen it. The one of the few things I take from that is Hip Hop Gamer's always been an exciting guy. But he only gets excited at that point where he can barely talk is when he sees something he's never seen before. When it's been some type of innovation that has blown his mind. I don't know what that game was, but what they played and what he's seen was something so different that he gave the brother a hug at the end of it. What made that interview interesting for me was Rex said, I ain't putting that belt on until we get to the place where we want to be.
There you go.
So what's that telling me is that, man, listen. So let's talk about the rate and the speed and all this stuff that everybody got to talk about. And I will continue to say that a lot of people don't know nothing about the game of football. So let's take different backs, and let's take Le'Veon Bell. What makes Le'Veon Bell such a great back? Le'Veon Bell is not the fastest back, but you know what makes him dangerous? He breaks tackles, and he's patient. He's one of the most patient runners in the league. He picks up blocks, and he can catch out the backfield. So then you go to Jamal Charles, who's in Kansas City. Totally different back. He's a home run hitter. If he gets through that front seven, and he gets in that secondary, and you got to depend on your safety to run him down, it's an 80-yard run to the house. But Jamal Charles is not a patient runner. He hits it with everything he got, and if it's open, it's there. If it's not open, he's stuffed. He does not break a lot of tackles. He runs hard for a smaller back, but he does not. He's not a rack guy. He's gonna hit it, based on his speed. He'll give you 6'8", but the games where he's really went off is when he gets an 80-yard run, a 40-yard run, and towards the end of the game, the defense is tired, and he gets him for 35, and the game is over. So what we're trying to put a definition on what in the heck does 4-3-5 mean, right? Everybody wants to know, like, okay, you got guys that run 4-3s, and what does that exactly mean? First of all, we got to understand that do people understand that 4-3-5 is world-class speed? It's not a lot of guys that do that. You say, yes, there are. No, they're not. Calvin Johnson, coming out of college, ran a 4.35. Julio Jones, 4.39. A.J. Green, 4.45. Demaryius Thomas, 4.38. Antonio Brown, 4.47. DeMarco Murray, 4.41. Marshawn Lynch, 4.47. And Adrian Peterson, a 4.4 flat. Now, what I'm excited about is that for most backs in most situations, it's about acceleration. It's the point where he gets the ball and accelerates through the hole. You want the back to move the chain. I would take a Le'Veon Bell over a Jamal Charles all day long. So Dallas picked up the Jones boy from Arkansas. Remember, he was there and McFadden was there. And they thought they had their guy. And you know why he didn't make it in the league? He wasn't a patient runner. He had no vision. And he didn't break the runs that they thought he was going to break because he wasn't a patient runner and he had no vision. He didn't have it. Man, listen, the football community is lazy. We're lazy. And you say, no, we're not. Let me tell you something. If we realize the power of the social media, then we will have NCAA. And the reason I would say we would have NCAA is because all you guys put all that energy into the unicorn of Joe Montana. Created a snowball effect that Joe Montana couldn't even handle or deal with. If we put that same kind of energy into NCAA as we did into Joe Montana, not only would we get backwards compatibility for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, we would probably be getting the NCAA 16 or 17. See, but we're not putting that same type of energy in it. We don't want it. We want competition. And Rex Dixon, man, I'm going to finish with this, brother. Don't dumb it down. I said a few shows ago, we're tired of playing Madden. We want to play football. And that's what you're appearing to give us. Now, I talk to these guys quite a bit. Please don't give me what everybody is talking about, and then 6 weeks in, they come on this radio show and tell me that's not what we played. I respect you, man, because you have pushed this genre out of not having fear. You didn't have the fear. You're saying we're going to put the football concept. You told me in another video that when you flew down to L.A., you had a concept and you talked to John Madden. And John Madden said this was the entryway of this football game for the fans to be excited about the game, teach them the concept of football, and then turn around and hopefully that we will create and breed football players. We have come through a community now where a lot of these young guys want something given to them. They don't want to figure anything out. Us, we come through the genre of all of these video games and having to figure them out. As they change systems, as the buttons increase, as the systems got harder, it might have taken us 2 weeks to figure it out or a month, but we did it. I expect for the next generation of video game guys to have to go through the same thing. Rex, don't dumb this down. Push the genre, push the culture, and allow the game changer guys to, and all the guys in the community to teach it and talk about it. Fellas, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. The social media is a powerful, powerful thing. Super powerful. And if we want NCAA, we'll have it. But we can't be lazy. But what I am is more excited about a football game than I've ever been in my life, and I played them all. Because I heard a different tone in your guys' voice, and I see a different look in hip-hop gamers' face. And I can't wait to play it. Because now we can get on the field and play chess, not checkers. And it will also expose you guys because you keep talking about what Madden ain't got. And as this game innovates and gets better, we're going to call you trolls out. Guys, I thank you for your time.
Man, well, you know, we always thank you, man, for the segment and the enlightenment that you bring to the show, man. I think I'm going to have to put something together, man, like some type of introduction, like get some clips together that really signifies what 757 does. Man, I'm going to maybe work on that, man. Maybe collectively we can come up with something, but I don't have nothing to say after that, man. We could definitely move on to the next callers, man. It's just that I always say this. It's funny that 757 can see this stuff for itself. That one thing he said about the interview, when Rex said, hey, man, I can't wear that belt right now. And, you know, I didn't mention that. I was waiting to see who was going to catch that. So it is what it is, man. Appreciate your call, like always. So let's go ahead and bring on 704. We got you live in the queue, man. What's going on?
What's going on, guy? How's it going?
Good, man. How about yourself?
All right. First things first, I want to mention 2K16. They bringing back some old features. They bringing back that crew. Yet I search all over YouTube and I can't find nobody bashing 2K about bringing back old stuff. Nobody. Go YouTube it yourself. But yet you see a lot of stuff about Madden when they bring back, you know, older stuff. So that's the only thing I'm gonna say about that. You guys talked about the ratings, the Madden ratings earlier, and I don't think they're not gonna get rid of that rating system. You know why? Because you guys are talking about it. Dez Bryant commenting about it. Everybody's talking about it. It's publicity. It's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on Twitter. Oh man, the ratings. Guys blow me up on Facebook and the CFM. Dez Bryant shouldn't be that slow. Blah 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 blah. That's what we want you to do. But I also see it as a good thing. I see it as, I think that they're separating the sim guys from the casual guys. I think that, you know, as far as these ratings, yeah, Dez Bryant is slow, but his route running and his releases, in the 90s, 99. So he can still beat somebody off a press and break away. But I think that it separates the guys because, you know, more people now are going to pay for those MUT cards that have the 99 speed. It's all entertainment. It's all a wheel. It's a wheel. People, those guys that, Dez Bryant ain't 89 here, boom, I'm going to buy a MUT card with the 99 speed Dez Bryant. And you know, it's all entertainment for us. But the plus side of it, I think that they're giving us what we want, and as far as the gameplay and stuff like that, outside of Mutt. I think that's how they're separating it. The simulation guys, you know, with the real play now stuff, and Mutt is the casual guys. It's almost like back in the day when you had Madden, you had Game Day, you had the NCAA, the 2K, then you had NFL Blitz, NBA Street. You had those games. That separated the casuals from the simulation guys. So I think this is a way that they separate, that they're going to separate it from, you know, the casuals and the simulation players. So thanks for putting me on, man. Y'all guys keep doing what you're doing. The reason why this game is changing because of you guys, man. We always want to see a good product. I saw a Hip Hop Gamer video. It was a good video. Rex, everything that y'all said, that's what he's talking about. It's amazing. Everything. You know, and these guys are straight up guys. You know, normally back in the day, the old days, they would have put that belt on. But he didn't. Because he real about what he's talking about. So, you know, thanks for your time, man, and let's keep it going, guys.
Go ahead, Smitty, give that reply, man.
Man, I mean, hey, first of all, we appreciate you calling in. No doubt about that. Secondly, to that, I mean, we're not up here tooting our own horn or anything like that. We just humbly let you guys know, like, look, trust and believe. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to believe because it's Madden, but even at those points in time, we're letting you guys know from what we can. That's why we try to let you guys know as best as we can about things that are going on with the series. And we said back then, it's going to take them time to get it there, but they're going to get it there. When we saw it with Madden 13, we felt a certain way about it. You know, we was like, I don't know if they're going to get it, but we'll see. And they've been proving it ever since. So, you know, I really don't know what else to say on that. I mean, this is just a testament to what we've been saying for the longest. And you heard Rex say one of the key things that we wanted done in the game, dynamic weather and all that. It said they'll get to that stuff once they feel they got the true core of this game nailed. And that's what I'm saying. He's telling us. So people want to ignore it, fine. But it's undeniable, and we've been saying that for the past few years. It's just going to get more and more undeniable. So thanks for the call, though. Greatly appreciate that call. I'll pass that to
definitely
if you got something on that.
Oh, no, you pretty much summed it up, man. And a great call, by the way. I'm not going to say anything on it. Smitty handled it, and I like the call as well. So, you know, we'll move on, keep it moving.
Yep, we'll go ahead and move to the next call, which will be F1, and then we'll let Azure lead the reply on that. Let me say something real quick, though. I wanted to say this while 757 was there, and I almost forgot. You know, I like to throw a nugget at you guys every now and then. I'm not going to say the name, but I was speaking with one of the executives, a guy who can make decisions at EA. I actually was speaking to him at E3. Looked me right in my face as we was talking, and he said, you know, from now on, you know, it's about making people learn. No more catering or no more, you know, compromising for those, you know, who can't get it. Now, I don't know if that was just, you know, to satisfy me at the time, but I'm not going to forget that that's what you told me. So if it ever gets catered, you know, like we said last year, ironically, the inaccurate passes seemed to go away, or they were less and less after the patch. If I see stuff like that again, I'm definitely going to sort out the guy I spoke with and be like, hey, man, I don't think I forgot. I'm not the one to talk to and think it's just, you know, as they say, oh, this is what we do in Hollywood. No. I take everything literally as far as when you are telling me something. So I just want to throw that nugget out there because 757 was saying, I hope they don't change it. Neither do I, bro, because I was told by somebody who was on the top level that was feeling good about how the games were going. Like Rex said in the hip-hop interview, games are being close and stuff like that, and people throwing bad passes and all of that, and the feedback popping up, letting you know you're under pressure and all that stuff. Okay, we ain't gonna forget that, and I said it here on this show, so none of y'all will forget it. Who was that?
Let me just say, I don't want it to be nerfed either, but as you tell me, you have to understand the game is for the masses. They need to either do a separate game, a separate mode, or something to help kids and people who don't understand football. Of course, you're going to teach the game of football, but I'm saying it being hard, as we've seen NCAA have a one-button mode. Some people need to suck it up. Some of y'all need to play one-button mode. You don't need all this. You need to press one button and just be okay with that. I mean, we've grown up in a society that thinks, oh, if you don't play an all-man, you stall. No, you need to learn the game of football. So, as it comes down to it, it needs to be okay that the game is hard. And we've seen that with NHL. NHL is hard as hell, man. I was playing it. Like, I'm getting my butt kicked on, whatever the second level is. I'm talking about, 4-1, which is like a blowout in hockey. So it needs to be okay that Madden is getting harder and you need to step your level down. You don't need – we told you for years, don't play on All Madden. All Madden be cheating. Play on All Pro. So you can step it down and say All Pro is our level to play. Some of y'all need to play on Rookie, just to be honest. So that's just how it is.
Absolutely, man. Let's go ahead and get Neff in here. And then after that, so far, only one other call, which is 205. So we'll see what happens. If the calls light up, I'll chime in on either one of you guys who are speaking and just let you know, we got other calls. But let's go ahead and get Neff in. What's going on, Big Neff, man? What's going on tonight?
Hey, what's up, man? First off, I think after here, I only caught the show kind of late, so I don't know exactly what happened early, but as far as people on YouTube and Madden and negative videos, the problem is if Madden was perfect, that would shut 90% of YouTube down, so they got to have something to say. They can't just not have something to say. They got to knock the game down somehow because they see what's going on. I mean, if you're in the field of engineering software is only getting better. People are getting smarter. They're not getting dumber. They're not going backwards and saying, let's try this like we did back in the day. That won't fly no more. So what's going on now is they're improving, but not just EA, but other games. But people don't see that because they have to look negative, man. They have to say, you know what? If I don't find something negative to say about Madden, I won't have much of a channel left. Because as we see, Montana ain't had a video since the interview. What happened to Montana? All that hype, and I ain't seen one video after all those interviews, not one. Unless I'm missing something. I haven't seen that. So until they come out with something, the only thing they can do is knock down Madden. And they're going to say, look, all these guys kissing Madden's ass, and they're going with EA. They're turning over, and they want to do this. Man, let me tell you something. Ain't no man on the planet make my decisions for me but me, because I'm a real man. I'll make my own choices. I've never had Sim call me at GameStop saying, buy the game. You're going to love it. Or Smitty or Azor. I'm good friends with all three of them, and they never told me to buy anything. So that really bugs me that people think you guys are that unintelligent to know that you have never told people to do anything about Matt. All you say is, it's getting better. That's it. That's all I've ever heard. But enough of that. What happened last night with your broadcast surprised me because, you said you didn't have much of a following on there, but a lot of people chimed in to see what's going on. It's all due to the fact that if the game is rated right, it will play decent. I didn't say it's going to play great. I just said it's going to play decent. And there was a lot of people on there, a lot of positive responses. And the thing that motivates me to even do rosters was watching those videos of you three doing my old rosters. I caught a couple of them that you don't even get on YouTube. They're on other parts of the internet. And we were talking about this stuff back in the day. A lot of things that you guys have told EA, this is like 2011, 10. I mean, I've been on the phone with all three of you countless of hours at times. And this is what we all talked about back then. So it's coming together now, but people don't want to accept that because they're looking at what it used to be. They're so stuck on what it used to be. Oh, this is what the game is going to be again. I know it's not going to be any better. If you can't see the trees before the forest, don't go hunting because you're going to be a victim more than the guy being the victor. And I don't sit here and try to play myself and say, oh, the game's not improving. The game's been improving since 12. 13, well, I can't speak for that, but 12 definitely they turned a little corner. 14 or 25, they turned more corners, but 15 actually turned a lot more corners. But 16, from what I hear from feedback from people I know, it's going to turn all the way around that corner. And then on the way there, they're going to hit 17, 18, 19. It's just going to keep getting better. But people are going to take my words and say, oh, you're just a Madden game boy. You're a game fan. You just want Madden. How many times have you three heard me that excited to do a roster in Madden? Seriously, how many?
Never.
Thank you. Never. Not one. We didn't even talk about it. You know how I know Madden is not accepted? What's the only game console game that doesn't have an editor from the community? Madden. Nobody wants to do anything for that game. They don't want it because everybody bonds together. It's what I call some of the people on YouTube are the smartest people in Down syndrome school. They don't get it. It's a bad thing.
Oh,
all
God.
They do is they come to the committee together with idiots. It's an idiot of committee saying, hey, we're going to default back to our old ways, save 65. I can save 65 on anything I want, but if I see something I like and it's $65, I'm buying it. All that save 65 and this game sucks and they're not doing nothing, wait till Montana comes out. Well, give me more than a 3-second clip, and I might get excited about the game too. But EA is doing things this year that they haven't done in the past. And they're coming out and talking. They're saying, hey, we are not there yet. We're trying to get there. But people don't get it, man. They don't see it. How many times in 2011 did the producers say this thing? None. They never talked about it. So I'm just giving you what I feel is the YouTube community, that's why I don't associate myself with it. I'm like in the penalty box compared to YouTube. I don't care. Put me in the penalty box. I don't care what people think about me. Because I'm not going to work with a bunch of people to knock a game off that they have no idea how to do. If you're so good at solving Madden's problems, go put in an app. Get to be a designer or engineer or a game production lead or something and improve the game your damn self. If you're that smart, you automatically know what's wrong with the game, go do it. And the minute you screw up, you'll get the backlash everybody else has got because you're not going to go in there and make a difference by being negative. Period. It ain't going to happen. But I just wanted to say, Sam, great job on your broadcast last night. Azuri, you were cracking me up with all kinds of stuff you were saying. Steve, what happened to you? You tell me later. I don't want to know right now. But all you guys for years have been doing the same thing. We've talked about this 2010, 2011. And it's coming together. So for the public, that's why I don't do public rosters because I don't really care. I only give them to people that know and get what's going on. 757, NY Kia, and one other person, y'all getting them damn rosters. Rest of the community, make your own. Because then that way you can't complain to me if something goes wrong. Anyway, I'm out, fellas.
Go ahead, AZ.
Yeah, man, we appreciate the call. That's one of the triplets right there for all those of you all who don't know. The 757 NY Kia and Neff, man, they are, I swear, man, they gotta be brothers or related somewhere because they just get it. But where's my file at, Neff, man? So you're gonna have to call me at the show and let me know where my file at so I can stream something to me. I can tell you what's going on as well. But love the call, man. We always appreciate the feedback and yeah, man, pretty much what he said is what we've been saying as well. The game is improving, and if anybody who has played with F1's rosters, whether it's Backbreaker or All Pro Football 2K, he did some stuff with All Pro Football 2K that's still unbelievable to me. This guy works with, if I'm right, airplane engines, and you got to be pretty damn smart to mess around with that. So, he comes up and he formulates the game, and I guess he does all these algorithms, and he rates each player individually Donnie Moore would rate some people globally. This Neff Warren goes in. He rates people individually once he finds out what the rating does, and he makes players play how they're supposed to play. So it's a shame. To me, it's a shame. I mean, I understand his stance of, he might not want the community to get hands on him and then be talking to them and giving them all kind of crazy messages and feedback. But to me, that is the roster guy. Like, FGB rosters are great as well, but Neff Warren is on another level, and I think Sim showcased some of that last night. He only rated, 4 teams, but from the teams that he showed, I've seen stuff that I hadn't seen in that. And I play in a CFM that does not have those roster ratings or sliders, and it's a terrible experience. Terrible. But when I saw Sim playing last night, he was enjoying it. It was a great game. We sat up there and watched it and tripped like we was all just kicked back on the couch. Me and the dude from Brazil having a conversation about, Brazil. We ain't going to get into that, but, I mean, it's just...
No, we're going to go right past that.
We're going to go right past. We looking straight ahead, run the red light. But, yeah, man, appreciate the call. And, Neff, we got to get you... I know Sim said on the broadcast, and I know Smitty will back you up too, but I'm putting your name in the hat, man, because to me, if you were given the tools to do it, even if, you're not in the building, but if you were given the tools to do it how it's supposed to be done, you are the number one guy when it comes to rating the game and rating the football game. So.
Absolutely, man. Neff is the truth, man. Hey, like I said, if you don't believe us, I know most of you guys have played the BB Highlight rosters, Backbreaker, and All Pro Football. I'm talking about those real official ones. That was Neff. Now, that's no knock to BB Highlights. I know he had a little hand in it too, but I'm talking about when it was that collaboration and we was getting those real rosters. Like that video I put on Sim Standard, it was like NFL 2K12 or something. All Neff won right there. Neff took the stars off the players. How did he do that? How did he do that? That's the only person I've seen to do that. How did he take the stars? Crazy. But, yeah, he is the truth, man. But let's go ahead and grab 205. Looks like we're definitely good on time. So since we have about 17 minutes, if there's anybody else out there you want to call, give a comment, you want to cuss us out, whatever you want to do, feel free. You can reach us at 516-453-9126. Press 1, and we'll get you in. But now we're going to go ahead and bring in Alabama. What's going on with you, man? I know you got something for us.
What's up, Perry? All or not, man?
Good, man.
What's up, man?
Pretty good. What's up, Azora, man? I missed you, man. You got that
been in school.
Congratulations on that, man.
I appreciate it. Hey, it's good hearing your voice as well, man. So go ahead and give us what you got.
I just want to talk a little bit. I've been thinking a little bit here lately, the last few days. Y'all notice how people, I know y'all notice on Twitter and everybody talks about how Madden doesn't represent the game of football very well. And they say that all the time, they don't even play the game. The only thing that I'm really, kind of worried about, and this really has to do with actual football, is Madden keeps going into the more of the passing type genre of, the big quarterbacks, big wide receivers, people throwing for 5,000, 4,000 yards, in a season and stuff like that. The thing about that really worries me is that I feel like the running game is going to soon become like not even a second fiddle, but more like a fifth wheel, that you only run the ball maybe 20 times a game, and you don't even run it 20 times with the same player. The reason why I feel that way is because I look at the NFL and how they're doing things now with the spread offenses and how college football and how it all started from high school. And then college picked up the spread, and, now it's all in the NFL. And now it's more like run the ball late in the game to kind of close the game out. Because a lot of teams that you watch in the NFL now, we're going to pass about 50, 60 times a game, and then we're going to only run just to, kind of get the defense to say something a little bit different or to kind of put the game away. And only time that you ever really see running ever replemented any time at all during the season is, late November, December, January, and February when it's cold outside and the weather's changing and, but they still throw the ball a lot even in snowy weather. And I'm just wondering if y'all feel like that's how Madden's going to go with also, because, it just seems like that to me. Also, to touch on some other things that everybody's been talking about with abilities and everything, I remember I don't know if y'all remember this, but I had sent y'all a list a long time ago back in the day when y'all was on the other radio show. And I sent y'all a list of all the things I wanted to see Madden do. And on that list of the actual 15 things, about 12 of those have actually been answered now. So when people are talking about this game not doing anything, it's kind of ridiculous to me that, it's only been really a few handful of people to me that has changed this game. And this radio show, I believe, is one of the biggest reasons why that change has happened, because EA hears the guy's voice on the other end. And y'all gave a voice to the voiceless. I remember when, only, if you had a YouTube channel, you only could voice your opinion. But now y'all gave a voice to the voiceless. And I appreciate y'all for that. And I know people always may give y'all crap and talk trash about y'all, but y'all were a live radio show. If they really had so many problems, why don't you just call in and actually say this to these guys? Because I'm telling y'all, Azor, Sim, Smitty, 757, Neth1, NY Kid, all the guys that call on this show, we're passionate about football just as much as y'all are. The only difference is we are like-minded. We think pretty much alike, and we're all on the same page of wanting this game to be better, but we're not going to sit here and cuss at you all day long and have a fight over Twitter and YouTube. And if y'all want to do all that, that's fine. That's on y'all. But we've done surpassed all of y'all, and I'm not trying to praise us, but I'm just looking at it as this show is one of the main reasons that EA listens. And if y'all ain't figured that out yet, y'all were out in the dark. Y'all were out back in the days when we had no electricity. So that's how I feel. Y'all keep up the great work, and I'm out, man. Peace. And great to hear you, Azor, man. Good job on college, man. Can't wait till, you get back and stuff.
I appreciate that, man.
Man, great call, man. And we got about 11 minutes, so I'll be very, very brief. With the beginning part, speaking with Rex, I always want to say, in so many words he said this because it's not verbatim, but he basically told me that his idea is they want to replicate football and not necessarily the NFL. And what he meant by that is football is football. Meaning, when you get all of that right on the field, then you can determine how you want to attack. Same reason why when me and Azor play each other is always crazy, because we both like to run the ball. We like to throw the ball when necessary, but we have the same kind of mentality. So we can have a good time. You see it in the stream. People are always asking me that, even in NCAA. And actually, I got a video I'm going to try to finish up tonight for that. I know I've been behind on it. But I run the ball, bro, when I need to. I play it the way I would play football. I play it like a Steeler. We're going to run that ball until we got to pass it. And you can do it in the game. So to answer your question, Rex was saying that it's all about football. So if you got the personnel that can run the ball and abuse the other team, you should be able to do that. That's the kind of game they want to build. They don't want to build their game based on what the NFL is doing, because that just, you can't do that. And the example I always give, again, being biased to being a Steelers fan, but y'all remember what was it, 2012, I believe, whatever year that was when RG3 was a rookie and they came and tried to run that option. What happened? Pittsburgh was the only team that held them under 100 yards, but why was it? Because Dick LeBeau played them just like you do it in college. One dude blasted RG3 all day, and the other dude blasted Alfred Morris. You're going to come up out of that option. And that's how the game should be built. The game should be built for football, not for style or play, if that makes sense. It shouldn't replicate, oh, they're throwing in the NFL, let's make them throw 4,000 yards. Probably was like that before. I would admit it seemed like Madden was always going along the lines of what the NFL was doing, but that's not what these guys want to do. So those are just my thoughts on that, man. But I know Smitty and Azul, y'all probably got something y'all want to reflect on as well with that.
Smitty. All right, well, if he's not there, I can take it. Yeah, man, it's basically...
Oh, go ahead.
What you saying... Okay, I'll pass it to you after I'm done. Basically, Sim, you pretty much summed it up. Don't chase the trends of what's going on. Football, at the end of the day, has to be football. Myself and Sim, even Smitty, we like old school football. We like to run the ball. And I think the NFL, they more so now they doing with run action and spread and all that because it's coming from college and basically you get players who fit your scheme. So if you get all these spread type of offenses and attacks and you draft that player, you have to play to his strengths, somewhat. What you're seeing with Tennessee, the Titans, they're going to incorporate some stuff that he did in Oregon to make him comfortable. I'm talking about Marcus Mariota, the quarterback. So, of course, I think Madden, they had to get the wide receiver DB interactions down because that's a part of football. It does come after, NFL being more of a passing league and more spread attacks and all that kind of stuff, and Chip Kelly and these innovative ways of creating space. So I do understand with them, kind of wanting to go along with that, but Rex, the creative director himself, said football is football. And that's what it has to boil down to. You can't chase the trend because then you end up becoming gimmicky. And we saw that in the past with past development teams. You don't want to get caught in that cycle because you just end up chasing the trends instead of creating a full football experience and letting it be what it is. Then you play it how you want it. But I'll pass it to Smith.
Yeah, and this is a point that we made. We made a lot of noise about many different ways about getting the football, not just it being a video game, but we want football to happen, and it just so happened to be in video game format. And this is something that it is something that's definitely, it's definitely took time, and we knew it was going to take time, and there's even more that they want to address, like Rex said, referencing that interview with Hip Hop. He said, we want to get true gap integrity, and he straight up said, we know that's not marketable, but that is football right there. And we want to get it, and they're talking about redoing these other aspects. We want to redo play action. See what I'm saying? And see, some people got it twisted by saying, oh, well, I'm doing setup plays and all that, like, oh, well, they already got that in NCAA, so that's just a rehash. No. If he's gonna do it according to the way according to how he's been doing things, it's not going to be a rehash. It's going to be something that's going to be more unique. It's not going to be just carbon copy NCAA. Like, no, it's going to be a whole new. That's why he said he wants all that stuff to be new, like redone, revisit with a different vision and a different outlook in terms of how it will play. And then he's talking about just having a whole year dedicated to special teams, just going nuts on special teams. Like, come on, dude. See, this is what I'm saying. This is stuff that you do when your game is there. When your game is there, you can have a year where you do special teams. Just like, look at all the stuff with NBA 2K that they announced today. There's nothing there that's brand spanking new. Oh, now you can relocate your team. Now you can do this. Now you can do that. I remember relocating your team was done back in Madden 04. See what I'm saying? So this is what I mean. Like, this is not brand spanking new stuff they're doing, but it's being promoted like, OMG, look what they're doing. Oh, you can play as a college team, yeah, in that story mode you can. And now this Pro-Am is like playing crew mode and all that. See, this is what I mean. When your game gets to that kind of point, you're going to have stuff that's going to feel like a rehash. And that's why I felt like I read all that info today, and it felt like a rehash of something they already had. I don't want Madden to be that. I want Madden to be what they put into this game is going to be something that they've never done before, but it's true and it's necessary to the sport. And they implement it, and it's clean. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, yeah, it's going to have flaws. Every game's going to have flaws. We might as well just bypass that. Every game's going to have flaws and shortcomings. But I'm saying how they go about implementing it. And I said this a long time ago, core gameplay and innovative efficiency. What's the efficiency rate of what you put into the game? You know what I mean? Is it at a high rate? Is it at a low rate? Is it in the middle? What's the deal? And that's all I'm saying. So all these things are having put in the game and all that stuff with 2K, yeah, it's needed, it's necessary. Now, don't get me wrong. These aspects are necessary, but they're not this brand spanking new thing like, OMG, look what they did this year. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm getting at. Like, you know, so that's what we want Madden to get to that point. And that the stuff Rex was saying, what the stuff Rex is saying at this point is what we want Madden to be. And he's saying it's going to be there, but we got to get that core integrity right first. And I love the fact that he said that, because that kills a lot of the noise right there off of just saying that alone. So, you know, but no, I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
Yeah, man, the funniest thing about it is when you listen to the stuff that Rex is saying, and this is fact, look at the interviews. Even the stuff that's not there, he's addressing and mentioning that they want to do. Stuff like the gap integrity. So my point is, real quick, is stuff that might not be in the game yet that he's telling you that they're trying to go after. It's almost like, yo, what can you complain about? Now, that's not to say that the game is going to be perfect. No. I can tell you right now, before you play Madden 16, there's stuff in there that I wish would have been there, and it ain't quite there yet. I'm sure it will be. It's going to be that stuff. But I'm definitely confident that this is that turnkey game. This is the game that you could say, oh, okay, this dev team is for real. But what we're trying to say is, no, this ain't going to be the one. It's still moving towards being that. And it's funny because people know that when it's convenient. They'll be like, oh, you know, that's because they ain't on 2K level yet. But then at the same time, you will attack them for not adding the little bells and whistle stuff, knowing that it ain't on that level yet. It's funny. But listen, man. All I'm saying is, let's keep moving like we're moving. It's working. And I think everybody will appreciate the effort being put forth in Madden 16. And like Smitty and I were saying, you know, offline, I'm already excited for the next games because I know where we're going. That's exciting, man. We almost feel like devs because we know what's to come. So it's like we're going, but even more excited knowing where they're trying to go. But we're at 55.
I wanted to touch on 2K and the whole Pro-Am crew splash thing, because unlike any other situation, we have been asking for crew for 3 years. And I got a video uploaded now that's going to show that 3+ years, and they have forced my park, Stage, JRC down our throats when all we really asked for was crew. So, you know, about them bringing old nose back, it's probably we have to touch on another show, but I don't want to take it all up. But, you know, my video coming up soon about that.
We definitely going to touch that, man. We'll put that on tap for the next show. And 2K, if you're listening, just fix the legacy problem. I'm right now having a wonderful time in my league. It's a beautiful game at times. But it's very ugly when those legacy issues pop up that's been there for years. Just fix those. And all right, that's our time, guys. We'll be back next week. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and thanks for the callers. And we'll be back. Peace.
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 Once again, guys, thanks for coming by. And if you want to interact with me live, head on over to Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Effect. The call-in number for the show is down in the description. Now, of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. And before you go, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys. Until next time, lights out.